What is up, you guys? Welcome back to He Loves Me Not, episode 3. I'm so excited to be here. I'm not even gonna play you guys, but I'll let you know right away. This is not hooked up. The piece that goes into the phone, I cannot find. So this is just for aesthetic to remind me that I am on podcast duty and I'm trying to get the story out. We're on episode 3. I'm so sorry there was an episode last week. I had the flu, so I was out sick and I was unable to create the magic that is this show. However, that's why I was like, I'm not waiting to look for this tech piece for the mic to work. We're just gonna keep it moving, get this episode up, because there's so many stories to be told involving my love life. And then after we tell those stories, we'll get into current situations. And then after the current situations, we'll possibly even get into more advice, guests, things like that. So there's so many things I want to progress and evolve towards. But for now, we're gonna dive into a little self-love episode and kind of tell my drag journey, gender story with self-love and how I went from literally living most of my life as a girl to a fully confident, juicy bear. So I'll start at the beginning and just say I'll never forget the first time that I got into drag. It was with my best friend. We were drag Halloween babies, of course, as most are. And we did it was like, we were like going to a Halloween party and we were like, oh, we're gonna get girl costumes. But obviously it's like drag, but it's like, I was just a sexy cop, but I was a girl cop, you know what I mean? So I did exactly that. I was a sexy girl cop for Halloween, first time I was in drag. And I just looked so hot. And I was so like growing up as a thicker fat kid per se, you know, you don't get to be the hot girl. By the minute I got into drag, I was the hot girl. And I was like, oh, we're doing this. So drag became a thing very quick, even past Halloween. I just began experimenting with makeup, experimenting with outfits, and then I was not even 21 yet, so I was unable to I wanted to perform. I was already doing so much theater and grew up as a performer. I was ready to channel and roll everything I learned on the theater stage and put it on the drag stage. I thought there could something be really special there. And there was, for sure, but I had to wait until I was 21. Once I was 21, I literally, on my 21st birthday, was also in drag and climbed up on a speaker and performed for my friends and family, and then got back to Jersey and was around the city, Philadelphia, and just started doing open calls and performing in drag competitions. And after the competitions and after the performances, guys would hit on me left and right. And I was not getting that type of attention, not in drag. And I had never gotten that type of attention. So it was kind of addicting. It was okay, if I can look like this and be treated like that, then we're just gonna always look like this. So I was just always dressed up in my room looking like a Playboy bunny, looking beautiful and just having a blast and dating and performing and making money. It was so much fun. And it even evolved, fast forward till later, and around 2020, 2021, I started releasing music, producing music through my drag persona, that was so amazing, because then I was living my true pop star fantasy, you know, and I was doing something that, most drag queens were only doing if they were on RuPaul's Drag Race. I was creating music and music videos, and it was really cool. And the whole experience just really shaped me to get to where I am today. I always say Jasmine gave me the confidence I had today. She's part of why I'm okay in this skin, because I lived so long in her skin. So it's just so interesting, because I don't look at my drag career as dead. I look at it as evolved. I feel she taught me so much about business and stage performance and emotions and love, that I took all that and it made me a better Nigel. It made me the Nigel. It made me comfortable in my own skin and okay being me, all the way to the point that I just have no interest in dressing up in the way that like I felt like before I had to dress up to reach any great accomplishments or secure any of the dreams that I had. It felt like they had to all come through drag. And when I started to apply the confidence that I had as Jasmine in drag to bare regular Harry Nigel, that's when my life changed. And that's when YouTube happened. And that's when the reality show happened. And that's when winning the reality show happened. It was all just so connected and all happened so fast. And so many people are like, oh, like what happened to drag? Like, are you ever gonna do drag again? Or where is she? Is she dead? Or is she this, she that? And it feels like she's just in me. Like it's an evolved experience. It feels like everything that I learned on those stages and in all those years led me to where I'm at today. And it makes me just so grateful because it's like you couldn't have gotten here if it wasn't for that. But I love it. It's a beautiful journey and I feel so lucky to have been on it. I feel like people don't explore themselves as fully as they should, gender-wise and like sexually-wise. And in those years, I got to do that. And it's so interesting that the best part of it is now, like even being like a 10, like a full blonde bombshell dime, because that's what she was, hooking up with a guy, you know, those hookups were nothing compared to what I have now. Being able to be intimate with someone as who I truly am is the greatest pleasure. So I'm so grateful for that. And had I not had all that, if I had not had all those years hooking up, not as myself, I wouldn't know that. You know, I wouldn't know what it's really truly like to love myself if she didn't teach me to love myself by loving herself as Jasmine. It was a whole thing. But listen, I'm grateful. It was an amazing journey. It felt like a story that was meant to be told because, I mean, and that's just like the fast version of it because obviously these were years and years of life, but I wanted to just touch upon it and wrap that up as my self-love journey because through drag, I learned to love myself as I truly am. And even as a creator and as a performer, like I don't feel like I have to be her to reach my goals now. Like I can finally reach them as Nigel. And what's interesting about that is I could have always reached them as Nigel, you know, but I had to go through those lessons and go through that journey to get to this part where I realized that it's not something that you are just born knowing. And if someone is or was born knowing that they had what it takes to be who they want to be as who they are, that's the coolest thing in the world. And you should feel so lucky if you're someone who knew that right away. But most people probably take some exploration and some time to live and make mistakes and figure out who you truly are, what you truly like. And I feel like that's what I did in my 20s. That's why I always say I love my 30s. I love this era because it just feels like I'm finally who I'm supposed to be. Like, and don't get me wrong, like I love being Jasmine and I love those experiences, even the intimate ones I had, everything's been such a joy to be, you know? But this is my favorite part, you know, being my authentic, true physical self and people still being into me and still not just being into me, but still seeing like the spark. Like for so long, it felt like Jasmine was the spark. And I hope this can be inspiring to like other drag performers maybe because she is not you. You know what I mean? And like she is only doing what she's supposed to do and getting that round of applause and those tips and that recognition because of you, who you are without all the drag. So that's just something to remember. Not to like sit here and convert people to like not do drag. That's not what I'm trying to do. But like I just want people to remember that like you are the talent. And to go from thinking like she's everything and I'll never surpass her to doing that is an amazing feeling because I've done it as being true, being my who I am, being my true self. So I'm just grateful for the journey and it was definitely worth telling. let me know, guys, sorry, excuse me, what you guys have experienced, like in the comments, about your own self-love journeys. Like, are there moments where life happened where that's where you fell in love with yourself, like the way I did? Because it can be so interesting, like even someone like myself, where I'm always complimented on my confidence and who I am. And it's so, I always love to come back with these stories and let people know, like, I wasn't always this way. Like, I went from this to that to this. Like, it was a journey and I had to live that. And I just love being open about that. That way people, if they're thinking like, oh, like giving me a compliment because they like my confidence and they want it themselves, it might not be your time yet. You might have to go through some more lessons. You might have to go through some more relationships. You might have to go through some more trying different things to really know and understand who you are and what you're supposed to be doing on this earth and who you're supposed to be doing it with. It takes a significant amount of self-reflection and realizing who you are, and you can only reach that end goal by making those decisions that you're afraid of. So keep that in mind. I always like to give advice about that and combat any compliments with story, because no one becomes anything overnight. So it's worth preaching that with some self-reflection and some studying of oneself, you too can love who you are and enjoy your life a lot more. But it takes time, and it takes sometimes some nasty moments of self-reflection. You have to really kind of like analyze yourself and some of the things that you've done or who you want to be. Those answers you might not like, but loving yourself for those answers, no matter what they are, is the key to loving yourself. And with that comes anything. I always say love makes everything possible. And I truly believe that I am a product of true love between my parents, and most importantly, the product of true love from all my mother's years of raising me as a single mother. That's how I know that love is the cure to things, and that it changes things, and that it's meant to inspire and heal people, because it's done all those things for me. But it's every type of love. You know, your knight in shining armor coming to save the day and marry you is not the only form of love. There's so many different forms and so many different variations of it that are necessary to grow as a human being. And whether or not you feel these different variations and versions of love really end up making you who you are. So just be aware of that as you go through life and you make decisions. It's important to follow your heart. As cliche as that may sound, it knows things that your brain does not. So you have to be aware of that and know that not everything is going to be so analytical. Sometimes things are just simple and created from love, and they exist because of love. So every version of it is worth discussing on here, and I can't wait to get into other versions of it and other forms of it and how it's inspired me both in drag and out of drag. But overall, self-love is probably my favorite type of love, and where I stand today is the purest form of that. I'm just so in love with my life and who I am, and that's because I've lived other lives. And I've also realized that it's up to me to fall in love with my own life. So I really take it upon myself to create a life that I love, a life that I want to live, and I work really hard at maintaining that through choosing the things that I want to do and standing my ground about those things. And that would definitely be advice that I have for everyone, or for anyone who might be looking for a way to be more themselves, be more of the main character, be more of the version of yourself that you think you can be. Like, really start to cross over and be it. And the way to do that is that self-love, by handing yourself the things that you want, no matter what they might be. And again, these are journeys. You're not gonna just hand yourself one thing and have it the next day. We're talking weeks to months to years of giving yourself what you need to get to the goal that you wanna be. Whether that is a different version of yourself, or if it is someone who was with someone else married, then that's what that is. But I also advise going on that journey for that self-love, for yourself first, before truly looking for a partner. Because I feel like now that I truly have gone through these different lives and lived this journey, I can finally say I'm ready to settle down with a partner. And that's why I take the time to date, and I'm very open with being single and dating, and it's a huge part of my life. I'm ready to settle down. And I've been saying I've been ready to settle down for a long time, but I feel like I truly wasn't. I wasn't grown enough. I hadn't gone through enough things yet to really appreciate and be ready for that. Now I have. So it's a great feeling to be prepared from what you've experienced. And be aware of that everything that you go through, whether it's good or bad, is a life experience that will lead you to a better version of living. You're not gonna make the same mistakes over and over again. You're not gonna drag pieces of yourself that you don't like to the future. You're gonna take the steps to eliminate those nasty parts of yourself that you don't want. And that's self-love. Eliminating those parts and really carving yourself out to be everything that you're meant to be. It shouldn't even be everything that you dream. Think of it as it's everything that you're meant to be. Your highest version of yourself, mentally, physically, spiritually, lovingly, should be maxed out. You should be doing your best and feeling your best, and that is love. And once you establish that within yourself, you're given the opportunity to establish that with someone else, is the way I think it should be. So practice self-love, practice love in general. I'm all for it. I'm all for giving yourself what you need to be the person you're meant to be. So I love you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for being part of He Loves Me Not, one of my favorite little creative projects that I've ever launched. It just feels so personal and so right, with so many questions about the way I reacted while filming For the Love of Dilfs, and so many questions about the way I reacted to music and videos over the years on YouTube are now finally being answered. I feel like people can hear my heart through my words. And once you realize how I feel and where I stand on certain topics, then you can better realize and understand why I react the way I do online, on the television show, on my reactions. You know, this journey is exciting to entertain people with these stories, but also at the same time give them a better understanding of who I am through my core. So it feels good to have a place to do that. And I always say that these videos mean more to me probably than they do to you. While I'm happy to entertain, it really, even if no one were to watch or listen to this, it means the world to me to be able to get these stories off my chest, and then hope that one person was inspired, or one person felt entertained or excited, or anything, any interaction. So from the stories or from anything that I create, because I know that's what I'm here to do. So thank you for listening, for watching, for anyone who's been with me from YouTube days. Thank you. For anyone who's new from For the Love of Dilfs, thank you. If you're from For the Love of Dilfs and you haven't seen any of my over 1,000 YouTube videos, you can watch and enjoy crazy, sensitive, emotional Nigel battle music and video reactions. And anyone who is from the YouTube world who hasn't seen For the Love of Dilfs Season 2, it's now streaming on Out TV, and I'm in almost every episode. So check out that television show, check out the YouTube channel, and also make sure you check out episodes 1 and 2 of this podcast, He Loves Me Not. Those go over in depth my first and second relationships in life. So yeah, we're right on target, we're right on the path, because right after those two came the self-love drag journey. So we're gonna continue the stories and the next era of life, which we're slowly approaching Dilf Mansion. So we will get to that as well, and all the feelings that came with falling in love on television will probably be close to the next episode. So we'll see. But let me know in the comments if there's a story or a version of love or something that you guys want to hear about. And also don't forget, I am taking advice and questions. You can DM me at @NigelBattleOfficial on Instagram, or I'll have the email down below. You guys can send questions, stories, and I will give advice based off of like what information you give me. And I'll put them at the end of an episode, or I'm thinking I might just do one full episode of just an advice hour or something. So submit questions specifically for that, because that would be a lot of fun to kind of navigate some of your guys' issues with all of my experience. All right, I love you guys for watching / listening. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.